Welcome everybody to another episode of Fins Nation. I'm your host Louis Sung, and today we're going to be talking about an offensive tackle that the Miami Dolphins signed to the roster. Wait, you may be asking, didn't we talk about this yesterday? The Dolphins signed Isaiah Wynn. We know that. No, that's not who I'm talking about, because literally a day later, the Dolphins signed another former first-round draft pick. This one, a former first-round draft pick of the Cincinnati Bengals from 2015. Oh my goodness, how do you say his name? I had to look it up. His name is Cedric Ogbuehi. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and talk about this. So the Miami Dolphins apparently are not done yet shoring up the offensive line, or at the very least making the attempt to shore up the offensive line. We'll talk a little bit about him and what he brings to the table, and if he brings anything to the table, really. But before that, really quick, before we get too far into it, let's go ahead and just mention that this show is brought to you by U-Brake Wheel Fix. U-Brake Wheel Fix is the complete automotive wheel solution. Ever parked too close to the sidewalk curb? U-Brake Wheel Fix specializes in the repair of damaged wheels from bends, cracks, and curb rash. Or maybe your wheels are faded or peeling. You don't need to replace them, as U-Brake Wheel Fix can refinish them to like new. Offering complete refinish options through powder coating, machining, and polishing, U-Brake Wheel Fix is the answer to all of your wheel needs. And if you're just looking to give your ride a new look, U-Brake Wheel Fix also offers many car customizing options, such as new custom wheels and tires from your favorite brands, performance upgrades, window tinting, and suspension modifications. Located just south of Aventura, you can reach Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or online at ubrakewheelfix.com. They are really active on all social media platforms at U-Brake Wheel Fix, so shoot them a DM on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter and get an estimate in just minutes. So don't delay, go to U-Brake Wheel Fix and start customizing your ride to show off your Dolphins fandom today. This show is also brought to you by PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks.com is the revolutionary fantasy platform where you can now pick up to 6 different players across professional sports leagues. Whether that's the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, the NHL, one of each, it's up to you to decide. Just choose whether your chosen player will get more or less than their projected stat. They give you free squares, and today happens to be Taco Tuesday, so watch out for some discounted picks to choose from. Also, you have Flex Friday specials to where you can get your money back if you lose, or you can multiply the amount of money you can normally win depending on what Flex Friday offers that day. So with offers like that, it's hard to justify not signing up if you are any kind of a fantasy sports fan. So use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Again, that's promo code 5, FIVE. Go to prizepicks.com, deposit your $100, and let PrizePicks give you $100 of their dollars for you to play with, and get started winning today. Okay, folks, we'll get into the whole Cedric Ogbuehi thing in just a minute, but first, I want to go ahead and revisit one of the things that I mentioned in yesterday's show. So, talking about Isaiah Wynn, right? So, it's obvious the Miami Dolphins are still looking to fix the offensive line. I don't know why they're throwing so many flyers out there. So these got to be veteran minimum deals, because they only had about maybe $3.5 million in cap space or so. I'm estimating on that one. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but it was around that amount. So now you cut 3 of your undrafted free agents, sure, but that's not going to be enough salary cap space. So now you bring in Cedric Ogbuehi and Isaiah Wynn, and how much are they making? I'm going to go ahead and look it up real quick. I want to just go ahead and give you guys an idea of what they're getting into, because in order for these guys to actually be signed, and as of today they are officially signed, the Miami Dolphins officially announced it and showed them signing their contracts and everything, they actually have to fit under the salary cap. So how much money do they have left? Like $500,000 worth? So based on what I'm reading here from SpotTrack, the veteran minimum that I can ascertain as of 2023 based on the CBA, the nearest thing I can tell is that they're either going to be making at least 1.08 million or 1.16 million. So I'm looking at this whole situation, and I'm wondering to myself, why are the Miami Dolphins going after all of these first-round draft busts? I get it. They were first-round draft picks for a reason. Presumably, they have talent. They have the ability to get the job done. But you know what? The Miami Dolphins also drafted Austin Jackson with a first-round draft pick. And weirdly enough, this is the thing that kills me about this whole thing, is that of all the players that are on this roster right now, you could arguably make the case that Austin Jackson has the most potential to be good. And it's only because he is still only 23 years old. Isaiah Wynn has been injured more times than I can count. And even when he was playing, he wasn't all that special. Now, I will go ahead and give Isaiah Wynn a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. And the only reason I'm doing that at this point is because recently some old quotes resurfaced from Dante Scarnecchia. Everybody knows Dante Scarnecchia, right? Dante Scarnecchia was the longtime offensive line coach for the New England Patriots, the guy who was notorious for being able to take basically any player you wanted and turning them into a fantastic offensive lineman. In fact, I still remember when Tom Brady essentially, I don't know if this is the exact story, but this is how it looked. Tom Brady was getting sacked for the first 4 weeks of the season. He looked like he was old. He looked like he was slow. He looked like he couldn't play anymore. And people in the national media were legitimately asking the question, is Tom Brady at the end of his rope? And mind you, this was long before he actually decided to retire. The first time, not even counting the time he came out of retirement, literally just a couple of months after he decided he was going to retire. Never mind that. No, this was way before that happened. And yet people were saying, is Tom Brady washed up? Is this the end? And even I, as somebody who does not like Tom Brady, I have to respect his game. I have to respect what he's accomplished. I don't have to like him. As a Dolphins fan, I despise Tom Brady simply because of the pain and the suffering that he put us through, not just on the field, but now also off the field because, oh yeah, I still remember, thank you very much, Bruce Beal and Stephen Ross, more so Beal than anybody, for actually getting us into trouble with the NFL by tampering and trying to bring Tom Brady from Tampa Bay to Miami, trying to convince him to come to the Dolphins before he even left the Buccaneers. And we lost our first-round pick this year because of it. Thank you very much. So once again, even if it's indirectly, Tom Brady is the source of all of our pain and suffering in Miami. But never mind that. That's not what we're talking about right now. Dante Scarnecchia, back last year, came out on a radio show and was asked the question, just very straight up, is Isaiah Wynn salvageable? And this is what he had to say. I'm going to go ahead and read the exact quote to you. So it was on the Greg Hill show, and Scarnecchia was asked, is Wynn salvageable? And he said, and I quote, I absolutely think he is. He's in the twilight zone right now. I heard he was a healthy scratch, whatever that means. And this is, of course, again, talking about how Isaiah Wynn has been injured all the time. He was taken out of a game because he couldn't play properly. So Scarnecchia continues, I like the kid personally. I had as big a say in him coming here as anyone else did because I really like the person. And I still like the person. I haven't changed my mind on that. I wish nothing but the best for him. It doesn't look like the way things are going, it's going to go very well for him here. Wherever he ends up, whatever happens, I hope it's in his best interest and he gets the most out of his career. This was shared back on October 26th of 2022. And again, Isaiah Wynn has been known to get injured more times than is even healthy. Not even for a person who, like, you think Teron Armstead gets hurt? At least when Teron Armstead is hurt, he doesn't stay hurt for very long. He usually comes back and he plays again. Isaiah Wynn does not come back to play very often. I'm going to go ahead and pull up his stats real quick. So based on the numbers that I'm seeing here, ever since 2019, he's played. In 2019, his rookie year, he played in 8 games total. He started them all, don't get me wrong. Okay, great. But you didn't get to finish. You were playing left tackle. 2020, you played in 10 games, started them all. 2021, you were playing left tackle again. You actually made it through 16 games. Congratulations on that. But in 2022, he started 7 games, played in 9 of them, and he never came back. And this time, it wasn't even because he was injured. It was just because he was benched. Was his injury to blame for that? I don't know. I honestly don't think so. Based on the way the 3 yards per carry crew are looking at him, and based on the highlights, or should I say the lowlights, that we've been seeing of this guy, I'm just not seeing it. Again, maybe Butch Barry is the new Dante Scarnecchia. Maybe, simply put, he'll be able to get something out of Isaiah Wynn that nobody else was able to. Maybe it's a fresh change of pace, a new environment, like Scarnecchia suggests. Because apparently, like, Scarnecchia is no longer associated with the team other than his legacy. He has no reason to play softball with any of these guys anymore. He can say whatever he wants. And you see all these former Patriots players coming out and basically trashing the hell out of Bill Belichick. They don't like him. A lot of players do not like him. Some players will still swear by him, but that's their opinion. But there are a lot of players who don't like Bill Belichick. And I would imagine that there are certain players that also did not like the offensive line coach. It's not like Dante Scarnecchia was this Yoda-like individual who everybody seemed to fall in love with the moment he walked through the door. So I'm looking at this situation and thinking Dante Scarnecchia has no reason to say what he said about Isaiah Wynn other than the fact that he just wanted to. He truly believed that maybe there was something there with Isaiah Wynn. Maybe he truly believes that the cause for his struggles is not his talent, but rather his injuries. And if that's the case, then the Miami Dolphins found a gold mine if they can manage to keep him healthy. I am not going to hold my breath on that any more than I'm going to hold my breath on Austin Jackson suddenly becoming worth the first-round pick or even, heck, a third-round pick they probably could have drafted him with. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, and I'm sorry that I spent all this time talking about Isaiah Wynn because that's not the guy that the Miami Dolphins signed yesterday. So who they signed today is Cedric Ogbuehi, and I'm still struggling to make sure that I say his name properly because this is just what it sounds like on Wikipedia. I don't know if that's his exact pronunciation, but I don't have anything else to go on, so bear with me. So just looking at Cedric Ogbuehi's career so far, again, another guy who seems to be absolutely destroyed by injuries. In 2015, he played with the Cincinnati Bengals. He played in only 5 games. And during those 5 games, he ended up landing on the reserve non-football injury list in September 1st, 2015. They were trying to take time with him, try to get him ready to go. And then on December 6th, that's when he made his regular season debut. They beat the Cleveland Browns 37-3 that day. And the next training camp, he was competing with Jake Fisher and Eric Winston for the right tackle position. And even though Ogbuehi won the job and he started as the Bengals' right tackle, he struggled massively and he ended up getting hurt all the whole time. So now, once again, 2016 he played in 14 games. 2017 he played in 14 games. 2 games in 2018, only 2. So in 2 he was a healthy scratch for most of the season. You're looking at this, and you listen to what I just said. In 2018, for the majority of the season, he was a healthy scratch. In other words, the Cincinnati Bengals did not think that their first-round draft pick was worth even playing on Sunday. This isn't like Austin Jackson, where the Dolphins were just saying, oh, well, he's too injured, he can't play, we're not going to let him play because he can't actually play. No, they're basically saying, no, he's not even going to be on the field. We don't even want him playing. That's how bad it was. Then in March 16, 2019, he signed with the Jaguars on a 1-year deal, and this was the veteran minimum, basically $895,000. Oh, how it hurts to fall from grace as hard as he did, because he was a first-round draft pick. Again, first-rounder, considered one of the best tackles to come out of the 2015 draft by many evaluators, and that's how far down he's gone. He lasted 1 year with Jacksonville. In March 23, 2020, Ogbuehi signed a 1-year deal with the Seattle Seahawks and then re-signed again in 2021, but he ended up going, oh, look at that, on injured reserve on September 2nd, 2021, reactivated on October 2nd, and then on October 25th, less than a month later, the Seahawks just went and said, thanks, but no thanks, your services are no longer required. Then he goes to Baltimore just 2 days later. He signed to the Baltimore Ravens practice squad, and he was promoted to the active roster less than a month later. So just, in fact, almost seems like less than a week later, it feels like. November 6th is when he ended up getting promoted to the practice squad after being signed to the practice squad on October 27th. But then, what's going on? What's this? December 3rd, 2021, the Ravens cut Ogbuehi. Oops. All right, let's keep going. December 27th, 2021. We're still in 2021. This is his 3rd team now. He lands with the Tennessee Titans. Oh, I'm sure Ryan Tannehill is very happy about this. He's had enough nightmares of bad offensive linemen. So December 27th, 2021, Ogbuehi was signed to the Titans practice squad. And wait, he didn't even last 2 days. He was cut 2 days later. And after that, he did not make it back onto a team. So on March 18th, 2022, Ogbuehi signed with the Houston Texans, and then he was released just a couple months later and then signed to the practice squad. And that's where he spent the rest of the season, on the practice squad. September 27, 2022, Ogbuehi was signed by the New York Jets off of the practice squad of the Houston Texans. He started 4 games at right tackle, and just when things started to look like they may have been looking up for him, even just because of the simple fact he was actually getting to play on an NFL field, he gets landed on injured reserve with a groin injury. He gets reactivated on December 31st, and on April 18, 2023, he re-signed with the Jets, only to be cut again just a couple months later. So now the Miami Dolphins have decided it's the Dolphins' turn to start up Cedric Ogbuehi and see if maybe, just maybe, they can revitalize this former first-round draft pick's career. I'm just looking at this whole thing. I just went over the entire overview of Cedric Ogbuehi's career in the NFL. And I gotta say, the fact that he team jumps so often just tells me that even if he was healthy, I don't see a whole lot of promise here. I really don't. So again, it just begs the question, what exactly are the Miami Dolphins doing? It's fairly obvious that they're looking at this situation and they're just throwing things at the wall and hoping that something sticks. Because with all the money that they are probably not investing in these guys, because Isaiah Wynn, I guarantee you, is making the veteran minimum. I guarantee you that Cedric Ogbuehi is also making the veteran minimum. In a way, it's kind of what the 3 yards per carry crew are saying on OnlyFins, which, by the way, it's only $3 a month. You can get some of the best Dolphins talk on the internet. You should absolutely go sign up there, get off of the Twitterverse, because it's a lot less toxic on OnlyFins, even if on game day it does get a little violent in there. But, you know, that's just because fans are going to fan. But I digress. You're looking at this whole situation, and it's kind of the same thing as when the Miami Dolphins signed Sony Michel. You remember when the Dolphins signed Sony Michel? So many people were really excited about this because he actually had some good plays to go along with his career. They thought maybe this guy can recapture some of that magic, and we might have a really good running back on our hands. Nope, that's not what happened. Thankfully, the Miami Dolphins had Raheem Mostert, and for a while they had Chase Edmonds. It looked good on paper. It didn't turn out that way, but then they went and got Jeff Wilson, and that worked out pretty good. Now Mostert and Wilson are back again. They went ahead and got Devon Achane, so now everything seems to be good on the running back front. We're still in a holding pattern regarding the whole Dalvin Cook thing. But as for offensive tackle, I don't understand the logic of what they are doing. If you want to sign veteran players and see just who ends up being the winner out of the 3 guys, because now we have 3 potential first-round draft busts, all probably competing for the same job. You have Austin Jackson, who's the incumbent. You have Isaiah Wynn, who was signed 2 days ago, and now as of today, you now have Cedric Ogbuehi, who is number 3 in that list, and which one of these guys is Butch Barry going to be able to resurrect from the career grave? I'm not holding my breath on any of those guys. I am still crossing my fingers with all my heart and soul that the Miami Dolphins decide to bring in Cameron Fleming because Butch Barry knows him. He knows that he's a good player and that he's going to be willing to take a smaller deal. I'm willing to give all this money that you're about to give to Isaiah Wynn and Cedric Ogbuehi, and heck, throw Austin Jackson in there if you want at this point. Just give all that money to Cameron Fleming. There. Problem solved, because Cameron Fleming played well last season on both sides of the offensive line, both left tackle and right tackle. Isaiah Wynn and Cedric Ogbuehi have accomplished none of that. They have managed to do badly on all parts of the line that they have played, and even when they were playing, it wasn't good. They're injured all the time. I probably should not be getting as worked up about this as I actually am. I'll go ahead and say it. I'm getting way too worked up about a couple of guys who are probably not even going to make the roster when all is said and done. But the reason I get worked up about this is because I recognize the fact that they had this need, and the Miami Dolphins as a whole, we can talk about Chris Grier all we want, but I'm starting to look at this and saying, I know that we had Eric Weideke on, and he said, and we talked about this, do you trust Mike McDaniel? Yes, I do. But it seems like the way that they are trying to solve a problem that is so obviously a problem is to just grab a bunch of rejects and hope that Butch Barry can somehow coach something out of them to the point where we have a legitimate starter at right tackle. If we are going to go ahead and bank on those 14 snaps that Austin Jackson played against the New England Patriots in Week 1 and say that's enough for us to decide that Austin Jackson is the guy, all I can say is this, and this is where I'm going to cut it off. The Miami Dolphins had better be right about this. They had better be able to prove that the right tackle position is not nearly as important as we are making it out to be. They better be able to prove once and for all that that left guard position is not nearly as important as we are making it out to be. Chris Grier better darn well sure he makes sure that he's right about when we say that we're worried about it, and then he comes out and says, you guys are more worried about it than we are. Yeah, we have every right to be. We've been watching this offensive line for the past decade. We've seen people come and we've seen people go, and we have yet to see an offensive line that's cohesive enough to actually keep a quarterback upright for a whole season. It's just not good. And if you're going to come out here and start talking like this and start signing guys off the street that we already know are not good just based on the film that we've seen of them lately, and even that film, again, is few far in between because they've spent so many stints on injured reserve, you better darn well make sure that you're right about this, because if not, people are going to be calling for heads to roll. Maybe not so much McDaniel, at least not yet, but Chris Grier, as much as I appreciate what he's done with the trades, the free agency overall, he's managed to get a bunch of superstars on this team. He's made an incredible roster. But that offensive line, man, he better make sure that this doesn't blow up in his face. Mike McDaniel is going to have to coach really well to make sure that that right tackle position is not seen as a weakness, because if they manage to take down Tua, then things are not going to be pretty, and they're going to get ugly really, really fast. That's all I'm going to say for today. Thank you all so much for listening to my rant. If you have not already gone to You Break Wheel Fix to go ahead and get your wheels checked out, you absolutely should. Just go ahead and call Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112. Again, that's 305-748-0112. Or you can go online at youbreakwheelfix.com and get an estimate in just minutes to get your ride really upgraded. And of course, go to prizepicks.com. Today is Taco Tuesday, so keep an eye out for those discounted picks. Use the promo code 5, that's FIVE, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up, which literally means if you put in $100, when you use our promo code, that's 5, FIVE, the Prize Picks will give you $100 of their dollars for you to play with before you even have to touch the money that you deposited. So go ahead and go to prizepicks.com, get started winning today. We will see you all tonight at 7:30 p.m. because we're going to be live for Pulse of Fins Nation, so make sure you guys are tuned in on that. And as for tomorrow morning, we will see you all for another episode of Fins Nation.